Hello everyone, welcome back to Chibi and Chilled Anime Podcast, the podcast that talks all about all things anime, all things manga, anything that you're kind of thinking Japan related, it's about anime, it's about manga. I'm going to be talking about it on this podcast, so be sure to subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. So I'm your host Ryan, and I'm a massive anime and manga fan, and I have been for many years, since the 90s, since I was a kid. And that fad has never truly ended. So a few things before we dive into today's episode. Down in the episode show notes you'll find links to my Etsy shop where you can find a bunch of anime themed goodies for you to shop and enjoy. So there's pin badges, there's stationery, there's keyrings and more. Whether you're a One Piece fan, a Jujutsu Kaisen fan, a Pokemon fan, a Mario fan or anything else, you'll find a goodie on the shop for you to check out. There's something for every anime and manga fan over there. The link is down in the footer in the show notes, so be sure to check out my Etsy shop, Chibiweeb Merch on Etsy. If you're a gamer, much like me, then why not check out Razer? You can find a bunch of accessories from mouses, keyboards, headsets, mouse mats and more, to the bigger stuff like gaming laptops and desktops. Over on Razer website, link down below, you can shop a whole host of gaming accessories, from the Chroma range, which is all colourful, which is my favourite stuff, to more sleek black stuff, including even their own merchandise, clothing, bags and accessories. There's something for everyone. The link is down below for you to check out and shop. So if you're not already motivated to kind of start that new regime, do a declutter, organise the various facets of your life, or start that course or business you've been waiting to do, or whatever it is, right, whatever it may be for you in 2024, then this episode is for you. In this episode, I want to kind of cover some inspirational and motivational anime. And anime can be filled, right, they're filled with super strong characters, huge powers, various worlds, villains, comedy, drama, fan service, and everything in between, which is super entertaining. But anime can also be filled with characters and storylines that inspire us and motivate us here in the real world to be better, to move more, take chances and step outside of our comfort zones, however big or small those comfort zones may be. And we can use anime in various ways, right? So one of the past episodes this month was how you can use anime to inspire you to work out and get into shape, right? Get fitter, get healthier, and check out that anime episode if you're kind of struggling with that as well. But anime can help us to kind of be healthy and use as a tool, and an entertaining one at that, right? We're already kind of watching this stuff, so why not use it as a tool to kind of help us? And being motivated and inspired can be the exact same thing. And in this episode, I want to cover some anime recommendations that you should check out if you're stuck in that rut, you know, the January blues, or just have that winter kind of slog that just cannot seem to shift. You can't seem to be inspired, you can't seem to get motivated to move or just do stuff and just get active, and or not active, maybe it's not even being active, maybe it's just actually motivated to perform your best at work, or just take that side hustle on, start that Etsy shop, you know, that kind of stuff. And yes, I get it, right? It can be hard, and getting into a new routine and getting stuck into it from the off and finding that self-discipline to kind of start that new venture. Or maybe it isn't as big as that. Sometimes we just want the motivation to take care of ourselves properly, right? Get washed and dressed in the morning, and that alone can be progress, you know, not always wearing the tracksuit bottoms and or the pajamas, you know, just always actually dressing how you'd like to be dressed and getting into that routine of, right, I'm going to get out of bed in 10 minutes or less and go start my day, get done. You know, not check TikTok every morning, not check Instagram every morning, not check it every 10 minutes. Those small things. But this episode will cover some anime that we can use as tools to inspire us, and they may not seem it, I guess, from the off, but I think when you kind of look at the messaging and how the characters are underneath, then it becomes quite clear that we can use them to kind of inspire us. And let's dive into some of the anime without further ado. Let's dive in, and we can kind of find anime. What anime can we watch from the comfort of our own sofas or beds that can help us get motivated into a new year, even though it's the last week of January, new year, new us kind of mindset, right? So the first one on this list is Black Clover, and Go Past My Limits is this kind of really iconic saying from the anime, and Asta is continuously saying this in the anime and in the manga, and this is one of the statements that I always remember this anime because of that, and it sticks with you. It's a short but powerful statement, and yes, it's in the anime and it's all about Asta going past his non-magical fighting abilities and his strength, his physical strength. But I think this statement can also be used to motivate ourselves to do the big or small things in life. So if you think about go past my limits, I like to think about that when I'm struggling in the gym, for example, if I'm on set 3 or of 4 or whatever it may be. I can't think of a good example right now. Maybe I'm in the gym, maybe I can't pull the weights, or maybe I'm trying to go for a heavier weight and I want to see if I can do it. And go past my limits is kind of one of those statements, kind of think, right, what is my limit? My limit right now is this dumbbell in front of me. If I add weight onto that, that is going past my limit. And it's kind of sometimes going past your limits kind of sounds like a bad thing, actually, when you say it sometimes. But what is your personal roadblocks? What are those roadblocks? What are the mountains standing in your way in order for you to achieve your goal, whatever that goal may be? Whether it be big, whether it be a fitness goal, whether it be a getting out of bed in 10 minutes without checking social media first and starting your day. Maybe that is going past your limit. You know, Asta uses it in a very dramatic way in the anime, obviously, because it's an anime, but we can use that small statement, go past my limit, in a more realistic sense and for both big and small things. So I think that anime in itself is great. It's weird because it's not 100% finished, is it? It's coming back. I think it is back now. So that is great. But I think we can look at this anime from a motivational point of view and use statements like go past my limits and Asta as a whole as a character and his determination to go past his limits in a motivational sense for us from a specific kind of almost that affirmation point of view from his quote that he says all the time. So if you're kind of struggling to go past your limits, if you're struggling to get that motivation, why not try saying that to yourself, right, it's time for me to go past my limits and go and achieve it. The next anime on here is not surprising if you're a fan of this podcast or if you listen to podcast episodes before. It's One Piece, right? And don't turn the episode off just yet, but One Piece. So it's all about Luffy, right? And Luffy and how he doesn't ever give up no matter how hard the situation may be. And that's the reason why I've included it in this episode. And yes, if you're a regular listener to the podcast, you know I'm a massive One Piece fan, and I'll probably it'll probably make its way into any anime recommendation list that I can make. But I think not only the anime in general should be on this list, but specifically the main character Luffy. So there are moments where Luffy has to get stronger, and his villains or the roadblocks in his path means he's had to learn and grow and go through some traumatic events. If you know, you know. But these moments where he can develop and get stronger, not only physically but also mentally, he has to get stronger both physically and mentally in order to kind of beat the villains or get past these roadblocks. And sometimes the roadblocks aren't anything really outside. Sometimes it's not a person or a villain. It's actually himself and his own mentality or his own kind of physical prowess, physical strength. So sometimes it's kind of like a mixture, but this recommendation is all about his determination and all about the self-discipline that Luffy has. And no spoilers, but in the Marineford arc, I believe it shows the sheer determination and his discipline to get stronger with his training. And I think we could all take a leaf out of his book when a roadblock comes our way. Not only think about, oh, how annoying this is, but how how can we use it as an opportunity to learn and grow and work past it instead of kind of seeing it as a roadblock, kind of seeing it as a, right, this is a test of my determination, this is a test of my discipline. How am I going to combat this instead of kind of running away from it? How am I going to head for it head on and kind of really tackle it? And I think Luffy has one goal, and there's no wavering on that at all. There is no way he's not going to become the king of the pirates, right? There's no way that's not going to happen. And that sheer determination of achieving his goal one way or another, there's no heading back, there's no plan B, there's no strategy for what if that goal doesn't happen. It's instead of a what if it doesn't happen kind of mentality, it's a what if it does happen mentality. And that pure determination, I think, is something we can all take out of his book. And sometimes I lack that kind of discipline. Sometimes I lack my own discipline to be able to stick to routine. I'm getting better at it. But, we're only human at the end of the day, and these are anime characters. So it is slightly different. But I think having kind of Luffy's determination can really work in the real world, and being determined to start that new routine, or having the discipline to stick to that routine as well. Being determined and inspired to set the routine in one step is stage one, right? And then stage two could be using that Luffy's determination or Asta's go past your limits in order to continuously maintaining that routine and sticking to it and refining it if pits don't work out. Sometimes sticking to a new routine can be really, really hard. I think what's the famous saying? You should stick to a new routine a new habit for 21 days, or it takes a habit 21 days to stick, something like that. And it's hard. Real life can really throw a curveball in with these routines. But again, how are these roadblocks? How are they areas to alter the routines like to make it work? How can you make it work instead of seeing it as a challenge, or see it as a challenge, but see it as not an obstacle? No, what am I trying to say? You get what I'm saying? It's not an impasse. How can you see it as a chance to learn and grow and develop? And this next anime is more around that group mentality and that friendship and teamwork kind of focus. So it's Haikyuu, and this one is I would say it probably is the most famous or most loved sports anime ever. It's so popular. And this one I include on this list because it's about friendship and working in that team and having that group goal and that group aim, but without having to lose your own personal goal as well, and not giving up on your own dream or your own desires. And it's another one that kind of sits along this message would be Assassination Classroom, albeit with the classmates having a very different and more deadly goal. But I think this one is a great anime when we kind of think about working as part of a team. And maybe in your day-to-day work, maybe you work as part of a team, maybe you have to interact a lot, maybe you depend on some members of your team, maybe they depend on you. And kind of this anime can really show us different ways of working with that, and how your own goals can help. How can the team goals help your goals, and vice versa? How can we kind of balance the different types of goals going at the same time, such as your own personal goals may be quite different, but at some point they will be related to the main team goal or the group goal, and the group goal may actually help you achieve your personal goal. So it's kind of this kind of intricacy, this overlapping of goals, and how that friendship and specifically that teamwork helps to achieve all the goals in one go, and kind of balancing the personalities on the team and the types of ways of working in the team as well. It's a really good anime either way, whether you want to watch it from a point of view of motivation and inspiration, but whether you want to watch it as part of it just because you want to watch it, is really good. Definitely check it out. But yeah, this is a great one if you're maybe lacking, or maybe you're struggling with working in a team or working with relationships. That could be a really good anime for you to check out from that point of view. And the last kind of anime that I'll do a deep dive into is Naruto. And I added Naruto, specifically the very first anime, the original anime. I added this one from a point of view of how in the first original series, Naruto is super aware of the villager's perception and how he's unaware of why they act in a certain way towards him, but nevertheless, he is always positive and firm in his goal. And his goal can sometimes lean towards having people accept him, which isn't quite the message I kind of want to have for this podcast episode. However, Naruto's determination to become Lord Hokage in the original anime is inspiring. And no matter what challenge or physical or mental or kind of metaphysical in their sense as well stands in his way, he will never waver on his goal or dream. It's very similar to Luffy in that fact. They're both similar in the fact that they have a dream and a goal, and if a curveball comes their way, they will just go around it and work with it. And how can they use that to propel themselves forward? And, we see Naruto in the original anime, where he's kind of the younger version of Naruto, having those kind of struggles with learning the various techniques and the powers and being able to kind of properly kind of not fit in the world, but essentially, yeah, kind of fit in, especially fit in with the village because of their perception of him. And, sometimes there are moments where it's kind of like, oh, his goal is to fit in, but then it kind of adapts a little bit. And it's really, really good. Honestly, Naruto, as part of my bucket list, I'll dive into the bucket list properly later on, but I did restart Naruto from the beginning as part of the bucket list, so I'll dive into that a little bit later on. But Naruto is one of the most loved anime for a reason, and I think we can look at Naruto, especially one of the most iconic big three anime, and we can look at it in a more inspirational and motivational way. But along similar lines, there are some inspirational anime such as My Hero Academia, Dr. Stone, Food Wars, and essentially when we look at this list of anime like these, they're all pretty similar in the fact that the main character is aiming to achieve a goal or a dream, and they have this kind of god level like determination to achieve it. And I think watching anime like these when it's wintry, it's a new year, it's the perfect time, and get motivated, get inspired to go head first into your goals like these characters do. And this year, whatever those goals may be, and in anime, they're always usually like a really big goal, right? They're always like becoming the Wizard King or Lord Hokage or the Pirate King. But it could just be something like passing your driving test or having even a goal to set a routine for yourself, which I've mentioned a couple of times in this podcast. It's a pretty good example of one. But it doesn't have to be something so big like these characters have, but go at your goals with the same energy and determination and discipline as Naruto or Luffy and see what comes of that. I think you'd be surprised that if you have that same kind of mentality as if you're an anime character going at your goals, no matter what that goal may be, I think you'll be surprised at how that kind of shifts your energy, shifts your focus, and quite quickly builds that self-discipline. And don't get me wrong, it's hard to kind of have that every day. It is quite a conscious decision to go at. So start small. It doesn't have to be head first into your biggest goal. Maybe start with head first into smaller goals. Start with a new routine. Start head first into a new routine of doing the dishes every night before you go to bed. That's a small goal, but have that same determination as Luffy or Asta. Have that determination that they would do at that task and do it well and do it good and get it done. Have that and build it up. I'm trying to have this same kind of energy with my own fitness routine and trying to motivate myself to have that discipline and have that anime character like energy towards my goal of getting fitter and stronger using my routine for fitness. And it's going well, but sometimes there are days where I've skipped it because my body needs a rest. But sometimes it can just be that mental kind of moment of I'm not in the headspace I need to be able to perform this in the best way, so I skip the day. And sometimes I feel like I wish I'd not skipped, but I kind of at least try and drive that motivation towards something else. So yesterday, for example, at the time of recording this, yesterday I had that anime-like determination of cleaning the house, doing my workout, doing the best I can at my job, and had a really, really good day. And sometimes I won't have that day every day, but it's part of a learning and it's part of building that new routine, those new habits. And, it's a bit of a growth journey, let's say. But enough about that because I'm starting to ramble quite a lot now. But an update on my bucket list challenge that I started of 2024, one of the past episodes. So last week's episode was all about my anime 2024 bucket list challenge, and since then I've kind of started to really kind of plow into it, and I've restarted Naruto, and I couldn't rightfully scratch that off knowing that I've not finished it from the 2000s, and I kind of remembered bits of it from the original anime from the 2000s, but I could not go into Shippuden knowing that I potentially have missed bits, forgot bits over the years. So I've completely restarted Naruto, and I am absolutely loving diving back into an anime like this. And it's so iconic, and it's so nice to have that kind of nostalgic trip with it as well, but also kind of being refreshed on areas that I would have totally forgotten about during the anime. So currently, I'm on episode 32, I think, something like that, 32, 33. I've not made a massive amount of progress on it, but I'm not trying to rush through them either. I'm really enjoying just going through and enjoying an anime that actually I probably would have dived into anyway, but I probably wouldn't have so soon. So, episode 32 of Naruto original anime on the bucket list, and hopefully by the next week's episode I'll be much further into it to give you a better update. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Chibi and Chill, the anime podcast. Thank you so much for every listen and download. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much from one week to another. Thank you. Please do leave a rating and a review on the podcast platform that you're listening on this to. It really does support the show. It only takes a few seconds and it's free. I cannot ask. If I ask one thing of you, I'd ask that. Please do leave a rating and a review. Even if it's not great, please let me know. It's even a bad one. Well, bad press is always what's the saying? Any press is good press, I guess. Oh, that rhymed. So a rating and a review would be great. It really does support the show. So thank you so much for whatever kind of review you do leave. Sometimes finding a birthday card or an occasion card can be a boring task. However, I have some anime themed cards on my thoughtful.co.uk creator profile, which is found in my links on social media. Over on Thoughtful, you'll find a bunch of anime themed cards such as Studio Ghibli Happy Birthday cards and more, with my range being updated regularly. Each card is processed by thoughtful.co.uk, with shipping being fast, quick and efficient. You can shop my anime themed cards over on my Instagram, with my links being over on there. Search Chibiweeb Anime and you'll find me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. It really does mean a lot. Please do leave a rating and a review down below. It really does support the show and it's free to do. I'll see you next time. I'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. If you're a subscriber or if you're thinking of subscribing or starting the free trial on Apple Podcasts, I'll see you on Sunday for the next episode of the Chibi Piece exclusive Apple Podcast exclusive episode on Sunday. Thanks guys. Bye bye.